What's going on, y'all? Just want to come on here, talk about some things, share my mind, I have a lot to say. A lot of things that I think about. And, the world is just all over the place. There are no words to describe the way that it is. And I feel like a very big part of that, very big problem, is how hard it is to communicate. Because it should never be this hard. It really should not. Speaking is one of those things that, although is an art form, is the most accessible thing that people, a society, a civilization should be able to do, in the most trivial, most basic ways. It doesn't matter what it is, right? And even that we struggle with. And, this isn't going to be one of those videos somebody comes on here and tries to tell you something or show you something that you already know. I know that you know. I know that you understand. We all do. That's all we hear. That's all we talk about, which is, again, another ironic part. That's all we talk about is our problems. And so it's very important that we start to do things. We start to act. That's why they say actions speak louder than words. And so this is going to be a very off-the-cuff video. I'm not going to really throw a bunch of images at you so you can be overstimulated and not even know what the hell I'm talking about. But I just wanted to come on here and talk about, the problem with sophistry. And, I'm sure there are people out there that know what that is and they understand. But it is one of those things that is so subtle that it kind of just glosses over people's head. Like you could be having a conversation with somebody and the whole time they're having a whole different reality going on. And so I feel like it's very important that we know what this is. Not only that, but, to not even engage with these type of people. Because I feel like, again, that's another issue, is that people want to talk to the wrong people. They want to talk to the people who don't want to talk, who have nothing to say. It's kind of like, Proverbs. There's a verse in Proverbs that says, a fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing his opinion. And whether you're religious or not, it doesn't really matter. The point is that there are people out there that are going to just talk to you and have no intention of understanding you or having a proper conversation. So you just leave. You walk away. You leave. You don't even talk to them. And so I feel like the most prime example of sophistry, right? Because there's plenty of examples. The best example that I can think of are the type of people when you're talking to them, right? Like let's say you're talking about something deep, right? Like you're talking about beliefs, you're talking about, religion, you're talking about those aspects, right? Somebody will look at you in the eyes and tell you, or ask you rather, they'll say, oh, well, if you really believe that, and if I tied up your family and I put a gun to their head and I said I was going to kill them if you didn't say that you believed in it, what would you say then? There's no better example than that. And for those that are unfamiliar with what sophistry is, it's basically when someone is trying to win the argument, right? It's those type of people who you talk to and they don't want to understand you. They don't want to try and empathize with you or even sympathize with you. They don't want to try and work to a better goal, which is so funny because that's kind of what a conversation is. You can't have a conversation by yourself. You have to have somebody else there to do it with. And so, ultimately you would think that somebody's trying to reach a goal, reach something in mind. And so it's basically when people are trying to manipulate the conversation in a way that makes them seem right. And where that word sophistry comes from was actually from Greece, the Greek era, back when Socrates was alive. And, for those who do not know who Socrates is, he was a philosopher way back when, like during who knows when. And so he would be out there, having conversations, having debates with people. And there would be people who would come up to him. And again, same thing, no intention of understanding at all whatsoever. And they would twist words, they would twist the meaning of words, they would twist, intentions, they would use emotion, they would use all types of different aspects to try to seem right. And they would even sell courses, essentially. They would teach you how to win. And what does that sound like, right? That sounds like modern day YouTube, where, you go on YouTube and you see these videos where it's like, oh, top 10 ways to psychologically win an argument, or subconsciously win an argument, or the best ones are the dark psychology. Those are the best ones. Oh, top 10 dark psychology facts. And then the whole time it's just like, oh, you puff your chest up, you puff your chest up, and that intimidates them, and it's going to make you win the argument. And so, anyways, yet another example, right? Jubilee. You go on Jubilee, man, people will go on there and will come up with just anything to deconstruct your argument, right? Because there is what's called deconstructionists, and these people are essentially the same thing. It's a little bit different, but they hear what you have to say, and instead of constructing on top of what you're trying to say and the point that you're trying to make, they don't try to help you. They try to take away. They try to misunderstand you. They try to take away from what it is that your point is, right? So, like, you'll hear it like this. It'll be, oh, so what you're saying is, and then they'll give the most wrong, most out of the world, most incorrect possible, summary of what it is that you're trying to say. And so, you can go on Jubilee, you can go on any podcast, any podcast, especially the alpha male ones, the OnlyFans ones, all of those. And, granted, is it real? We'll never know. We'll never know if those people really have conversations, if they even really think or care about the same, because you have to think about grifters. You have to think about people that don't actually care about the things they have to say. They just say whatever to whatever audience that it might be. And so, I think the root of the issue is that people forget that communication, inadvertently or sometimes directly, is an extension of yourself, right? Like, when you talk about things and you share your opinion and you share the way that you think, that's an extension of you. And I know how simple that may sound. I know that sounds like common sense. I know that sounds like it should be, as easy as 1, 2, 3. But there are people out there who have not made this realization yet. And, sometimes that happens, right? Sometimes you don't necessarily think about those things because of how simple they are, right? Like the same way that you wouldn't think about how truly insane it is, how big the world is, or like the wind, how cool the wind is, or how cool nature is. Like these things that are so simple and so axiomatic that you don't even think twice. You don't even think twice about it. And so, communication falls right under one of those categories where it's just one of those things that you don't even think about. And so, I think that people go into a conversation and it's almost like the best way that I could explain it is like this, right? Let's say you're cooking and you have each and every single ingredient that you need to make a cake, right? You have all the ingredients lined up. And instead of seeing all of those ingredients together as a cake, they see these ingredients as each individual part, right? Unto itself. So it has no connection to the other ingredient, to the other ingredient, to the other ingredient. So when you're having a conversation with somebody, it works the exact same way. There are these people who speak and they say words without realizing that the sentences, the combination of the words that they're saying, are the point that they're making. It's almost like they say the right words, but they're saying the right words for the sake of saying the right words. They're not saying it because they're trying to show you something, like make something of what they're trying to say. And I know how complicated this might sound, and that's a part of the problem, is that words are a reality unto their self, right? Like it's not tangible. I can't grab words. I can't show you words the same way I would be able to show you my couch. or anything physical. Words don't exist in the same reality, and so to try and actualize these things and to try and pinpoint these things is what makes it, so difficult, because people think that there is a fixed reality within the conversation you're having, right? They don't, it's almost like they disconnect. They disconnect from the reality that they're living in, right? The world. And then when you're having the conversation, the only things that exist are the things that are said in the conversation. So at any point in time that you don't say something, regardless of how simple it is, or regardless about how, trivial it might be, it doesn't exist. It does not exist to these people, right? Because you didn't say it. You didn't say it. And so, to circle back to sophistry, a perfect example of this is when you're having a conversation with somebody, and let's say you're not the most eloquent person, right? You don't necessarily have the highest vocabulary, or you just are struggling to articulate yourself. You're trying your best, and you're saying whatever it is you can say to try and make your point. The person that you're talking to, most of the time probably understands what you're talking about. They probably know exactly what you're talking about. But because they're not interested in trying to, help, have the conversation, or because they're not interested in trying to reach a better goal, they're going to sit there. They'll sit there and they'll just nod there the whole time that they're doing that. The whole time that they're listening to you, they know exactly what you're talking about. But they're not going to tell you that. They're not going to try to help you. They're not going to try and, even engage with your mindset, And it's kind of like Aristotle said, the mark of a true educated mind is one who can entertain a thought without believing it. And basically what that means, the simplified version of what that means is that somebody who is truly intelligent, somebody who's truly educated, can think of things that they do not necessarily agree with, believe in, whatever word you want to use, Like if you are incapable of imagining or even putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, right? Like if you really want to get simple, if you struggle with just the most basic sense of trying to understand, because that's what, there is nothing, more that you can do to try to understand something than by putting yourself in that position. And so, these people, they have zero sense of self. It's almost like they want to have possession over ideologies. They want to have possession. They want to be what it is that they think. And again, I know how complicated that might sound, or just how like you're probably asking, what's your point? Like, what is it that you're trying to say? And the best way that I could explain it to you is like this, right? You have knowledge, right? Like every there's the concept. There's the concept, knowledge. And then there's you. You are not knowledge incarnate. You are not the embodiment of knowledge. You have knowledge. That does not make you knowledge. And so it's almost like people have this subconscious thought, or not even thought, but just idea that they are the things that they are thinking. And so I know how ironic that sounds, because I was talking about how, what you think is an extension of yourself. But there are ways in which that you go about that. And so, there's hundreds of thousands of different ways that I could explain that to you. And I know I might be getting a little off track, but there's nothing that I can explain to you that I wouldn't be able to explain to you by explaining something else, right? Because yeah, that's another thing. That's a whole different topic. Is the fact that people don't realize how connected everything is. But yeah, um, I know you guys know these things. I know that these are not, you know, this is nothing is new. What has been, will be, and what will be has been. It's all just a cycle. And so, this video wasn't to come on here and tell people how to think, or to teach people things, or to be a self-help or anything like that. There's too much. There's too much of it. I just wanted to come on here and, I think my main goal was to help those that feel as if they're the only one that thinks that. You know what I mean? Like, when you find something and you're like, oh, I've been thinking that, for such a long time. I'm so glad I found somebody that can, agree with me, or a like-minded individual. That's all. That's all this was for. And so, if there's anything else, any other topics, that you think we should discuss, let me know down in the comments below. Let me know what you think, your opinion, if you think there's something more important, if you think, whatever it might be, just let me know, and I'm sure we'll get right back to it. Thank you for watching.